Yeah.
Hello, hi, good morning, good evening, everyone. Okay, good to see you back again on the Tuesday evening with Dr. Abraham. All right, I'm Vincent here, and I will be your main host and translator for today's session. Okay, as tonight's session will be conducted in English, I will be doing the translation after our introduction. Okay, well, I'm so happy to see you again tonight. Thank you for taking your time out to participate in tonight's session to enrich yourself. Okay, for those of you who are here, maybe I encourage you to actually send forward this link again to your friends and prospects. Okay, as today Dr. Abraham is going to share something very important about the balance oil. Okay, so they will have a lot of important information tonight. So do invite your customers and prospects, and also remind your partners to invite their prospects to the session tonight. Okay, let's get started tonight. Okay, Dr. Abraham will be sharing with everyone why is it important to take Zinzino balance oil in our diet. As you can see from the topic today, is supporting health span with balance oil. Okay, how balance oil can help our body to be in balance and be healthy. Okay, when we actually go to a mall or online shop, you realize that you see actually a lot of different kind of brands of omega-3, right? So sometimes there's like so many different kind. Which one are we supposed to choose? Okay, you see people looking at the label, looking at the bottle, but then don't know which one to take, right? And most of the time they will be lost, okay, in the brand of C, and not knowing which brand or product to choose. So why should they choose the balance oil instead? How is it different? Okay, and more superior than the rest of the omega-3. Okay, so later on, Dr. Abraham will be sharing and explaining to each and everyone why we should choose Zinzino balance oil and its benefits later. And of course, later on, Dr. Abraham will also be touching on a little bit on this balance test as well. Okay, as you know, this test is a dry blood spot test. So and worldwide, Zinzino has been doing this, and we have like done more than 1 million tests worldwide. Okay, and this is actually our secret weapon. Why Zinzino has been growing so rapidly worldwide. Okay, so later on, doctor will touch on the test as well. Okay, and you realize that worldwide we actually had 97% of people unbalanced during the first test. Okay, so what do we mean by unbalanced or balanced? Okay, let us all hear from Dr. Abraham later. Okay, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, welcome to our health webinar. Okay, so Zinzino is a test-based nutrition and a listed company based in Sweden, and we are also the world-leading company with the largest fatty acid test database. So we actually measured a lot of balance tests. Okay, more than 1 million already. Okay, and we have been serving a lot of customers worldwide. All right, so and later on, before the end of the session, we will also open up the field for some Q&As. Okay, so this will be a very good opportunity for you to ask Dr. Abraham anything regarding health and products. Okay, I'm pretty sure if you have been sharing and with your customers and prospects over the past week, you have encountered a lot of product questions from them. Okay, those that you are not sure of, okay, feel free to check with Dr. Abraham later, okay, during our Q&A segment. All right. Okay. Let me give everyone a short introduction of Dr. Abraham. Okay, doctor is based in Malaysia, KL. Okay, and has been in the medical field and worked in the hospital for more than 40 over years. So he's very experienced and has helped plenty of patients back to their health. Okay, even though he's a medical doctor, he truly believes in the holistic approach to keeping our body healthy. Okay, and now he's also in the scientific advisory board for Zinzino and has been working very closely with the rest of the board members to develop better and wonderful product for you and the market. Okay, I can't wait to get the session started. So without further ado, let us all type in 888 into the chat box to give our warmest applause to welcome Dr. Abraham. Doctor, please, thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Vincent. Uh, is my picture
Can see
clear?
you.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. Mm.
Thank you. Thank you. Uh, Very good evening for everyone who is here. Over here, it's evening. I don't know what it is exactly at your place, But if you're from Southeast Asia, we are pretty much aligned. You know, it's surprising that Taiwan, Malaysia, Singapore at the same time, and even the Philippines. And if you go down to Australia, Western Australia, Perth is again the same time, and even in Beijing. So this corridor experiences a lot of travel. Apparently, it's one of the busiest corridor air flights alone in the world. Amazing. Okay, today the name of the topic is to improve health span. Now, about 2 months ago, we were talking about lifespan and health span. And I mentioned that not much progress has been made in extending lifespan. There has been a lot of talk. So now a lot of people are turning around and focusing on how to improve your health as long as you live. So the span of time that you have good health is something that we can do uh, influence with our habits. So focusing on health span. And today I want to introduce, of course, Zinzino's balance oil. Now, whenever we talk about any product, it is given in a lot of details and presented in a manner, whether intentionally or unintentionally, that this product can make a big difference in your life, and this may be the number one thing in your life. Now, I want to dampen down that kind of approach and put the whole thing in the proper perspective. And I have some slides that I want to share with you as I keep talking. Let me get the slides. Yes, we have it here. And this is, we're going to talk about Zinzino Balance Oil and spend a little bit of time on how you can test your blood and find out where you stand. Okay. Now, first of all, I want to impress on you that the most important thing in life, the most important supplements, food, whatever you can get, are these. We need to breathe in a little bit more oxygen. So take a deep breath on and off, which is very important, and drink a little bit of water, extra water, if you're drinking a certain amount. Make sure that your urine is clear all the time. That way, we know that you're getting enough water wherever you're working, air conditioned room or out in the sun. If you drink enough to keep your urine clear, that's the sign that you're getting enough fluids. Now, mind you, the water here doesn't include coffee and tea. Okay. You can have your coffee and tea. I'm not saying no, but make sure it is not included in the counting of fluid supply. Why? Uh, that's a big topic, but just to give you one idea, coffee and tea makes you pass more urine. So you become more dry if you stick to only this beverages. So you want to enjoy your coffee and tea, have a glass of water, and then enjoy a cup of coffee or tea. Diet is very important. This is the very basis of life. The body needs nutrition, and the only way it gets to our cells is through a good diet. Okay, and a good diet varies from place to place. Lifestyle. Uh, it's very easy to lecture on lifestyle, but we all go through life with many challenges, health challenges, small, big. Um, Stress. We have to earn a living. We go for a certain kind of a job that we chose to do, and that has good moments. It also has not so good moments, and you got to manage that. And then on the physical side, lifestyle will also include how much of movements you make. Your body is made up of 625 different types of muscle, 206 bones, about 130 over joints. You have to move. So your lifestyle should include that. By the way, oxygen is free, water is very cheap, Lifestyle is entirely under your control. Diet is where we make a number of mistakes and we need to be alert. So let's focus on the diet. If you look at the diet all around the world, they pretty much eat the same thing: grains, vegetables, fruits, animal produce. Of course, the grains may vary depending on the place that you are eating. In South America, maybe quinoa is more popular, certain parts of Africa, cassava, and so on and so forth. But basically, there's some grains to take. Vegetables, all types. The names may vary, the size, shape, and the looks may be different, but basically, they are leafy type of vegetables, roots, nuts, and beans, and so on. Mm. Again, fruits, more berries in the west. In the east, it's probably uh, my favorite, durian, which is seasonal, by the way. And we get many other fruits, papaya, mango, and so on. So, and most ethnic groups include a small portion, maybe 20% to 25% of animal parts. And it is interesting to note that when we consume animals, we tend to consume only vegetarian animals. We don't consume animals that eat meat. So somehow we stick to goat, sheep, and cows. We don't go and eat donkey meat or some other thing. Okay. Now, the animal produce would be um, milk, eggs, and so on. And both this usually add up to about 25%. Only in modern times, sometimes we eat a lot of this. Now, it is interesting also to note that almost every ethnic group around the world have special preparations during certain seasons. When we say special preparations, it is an addition to food, and therefore it cannot be a lot. It is usually in the form of soups, broth, concentration of herbs, animal parts, variety of things, and usually targeted for some shortcomings in our health, maybe general weakness, or maybe backache, joint pains, and so on. Now, here, what you see is the earliest form of supplementation. So, supplements are nothing new. Everybody took this long before. Okay. Now, let's look at the diet. We eat this, but what do we get out of this? What we get is something in large amounts, macro large amounts, and also other nutrients that we need in very small amounts. We are able to measure all this because there is amazing increase in the engineering sciences. So we are able to today measure if there is a little bit of fluid, even up to 1 billionth part, there is a substance we can measure it today. And in spite of that, I put some um, ingredients as unknown, not because we can't detect it. While it is being released into the food cooking or after you eat, it is released into the body. It lasts such a short while that it's difficult to catch it and measure it. So, with time, I think we will get to know more and more of this. And this category will be under phytonutrients when it comes to plants. Okay. Now, if you look at the major ones that we need, you will notice that actually we don't need carbohydrates. That's if you really have to eliminate carbohydrate. But I would say don't do that. Carbohydrates have their function too, but we won't die if you don't take this. But we cannot live without protein or fats. We definitely need this too. And today we are going to focus a little bit on the fats. Okay. Now, what do we mean? Fats. Fats, we all know what fat is. In at room temperature, it's usually oily. That is a fat too. In colder temperatures, it becomes a little solid. That is the same fat. Now, the body requires many types of fats. Where we get it is from the fats that we eat, animal parts, and of course, uh, all foods have fat, except that many of the vegetables have low fat. Some of the vegetables that may have a higher amount of fat would be like avocado or coconut. If you like coconut shavings, it is good. And these are good fats. So we require many types of fats. We get it from the diet. It gets broken down into its basic part. We call it fatty acid. And the body will put it back again to form the fats that our body needs. And what is the type of fat we need? It is classified according to location. Like under the skin will be subcutaneous. If it is in the tummy area, we say visceral fat. And then sometimes we also classify according to the looks, brown fat, white fat, and so on. That's a separate subject by itself. So the body synthesizes these fats from the fats that we consume. If you stop consuming fats, it will start producing fats from carbohydrates and proteins. That's how important it is to the body. Okay. Now, the body can do all this. However, there are two types of fat that the body cannot make, and therefore you have to include it in the diet. Now, something that you cannot make, you include in the diet, that's called essential nutrients. In this case, it'll be essential fatty acids. Okay. Now, there are such situations, like, for example, vitamin C, another ingredient we can't make. So, what happens? You've got to take it in the diet. Okay. You take a goat, they have the ability to produce vitamin C in their body. They don't have to consume, but then they consume quite a lot of greens which have got vitamin C. So, what are this type of fats? If you look at it from the biochemist point of view, there are three types of fats basically. Fats which are now fats, if you come down to the molecule, it's a long carbon chain. If the carbon chain is attached to something, every carbon atom has got four arms. If something is attached to all the four arms, we call it saturated fats. If we do not have enough of it for all the four arms, then it is unsaturated. We also have a third type of fat, which is found in modern cooking uh, foods that are packed. We call that trans fats. It has been modified by high temperatures and so on. Now, this mainly coming from any packaged food is harmful. Many people don't talk about it now because most governments have banned trans fats. You can't use this in your food. However, keep an eye on it. Some people might quietly sneak in without it. Now, originally, this came out because trans fats found in nature is actually good for you, but they are found in very small amounts and we require extremely small amounts. Now, of course, the biochemists would like to break down the unsaturated fats, and it's broken down into polyunsaturated, monounsaturated, very few monounsaturated fats. A good example is olive oil. Olive oil has a large amount of one particular unsaturated fat called omega 9. Okay. Uh, Before naming them, let me give you the essential fatty acids that we need. Now, here again, the biochemist name is there. One, two. There are two fatty acids we cannot make, and they are named according to the molecular structure omega 3, omega 6. Okay. Since we don't manufacture, it must be consumed in the food that you take in, and that gives you a lot of benefits. But they also find that if you, in spite of whatever you're taking, the ratio, you benefit. But if the ratio is not optimal, it will not help in certain areas. Therefore, it is good to take both, and it is ideal if we can get it in the right ratio. So let us quickly look at that. I'm getting another little bit more knowledge on the essential fats. What exactly do they do? Now, the body has 86 trillion cells. This is the current estimate. There was a time it was 37, it went on to 100. Today, it's getting a little bit more clear, but they estimate it is around 86 trillion cells. Now, every cell has a cell membrane or a cover. Remember, the cell is a three-dimensional thing, and there is a cover. That cover needs to be very strong. Okay, it must maintain the shape of the cell. Now, we have more than 200 different types of cell. Each one has a different shape. So the membrane must be good enough to maintain the shape. It mustn't break anywhere. So the integrity is important. No matter how healthy the cell is, if you puncture or break the cell membrane, that cell will die. Okay? Now, the cell also must be jelly-like, more a little bit of fluid inside. Why? Every cell has more than 10,000 chemical reactions taking place in a 24-hour period. It cannot take place in a solid or in a powdery environment. It must be fluid. Okay, so the membrane must be strong enough to hold all the fluid and make sure the right stuff is coming in and the unwanted stuff is going out. Okay, now omega 3 and 6 are needed in the cell membrane. Why? If you look at the composition of a cell membrane is 50% fat. Now, the other 50% is protein, which gives the main structure. The fat is extremely important for nutrition, hormones, and other good things for the cell to go into the cell. That membrane is controlled by the amount of fat in the cell membrane. And what needs to come out also needs to come out. Now, this is not as simple as I say. How the cell controls what needs to come, what needs to go out is very, very critical, and it depends on the fat of the cell membrane. Now, out of this 50%, 30% is cholesterol. We don't need a supplement for cholesterol because the body makes cholesterol. The other 20% is omega 3 and 6. Now, those two are the ones body cannot make, and therefore it's critical that we supply. Just to give you an idea of the cell, this is a three-dimensional cell. You can say it's sliced off in the middle, and this is the cell membrane, the margin of it. So all over here is the membrane. This is the margin. As you can see, it's got two layers. It's not as simple as this. If you take a slice, say one slice here, and look under the microscope, this is how it looks. Two layers, and these are channels through which things can come through, stuff can go out. And this channel openings keep changing. Can you imagine a room which has two doors? And the doors are not in the same place all the time. Every day you come, the doors are in a different place. That's how dynamic the cell is. It's a very complex structure. Okay, let's move on and look at our modern diet. What we notice is I would say, over the last 60, maybe 70 years, our cooking style has changed to using more vegetable oil. Thanks to the improvement in industrial extraction of vegetable oil, we are now able to extract it at a very low cost, and it can be refined to an extent you can bottle it and keep it a long period. How did they cook before that? They used animal fat, pork lard, or some animal fat. And because it's animal fat, expensive, small amounts were used. Okay. So currently, our cooking oils are mainly vegetable and seed oil, seed like soya bean, kacang, and so on. Now, they have a lot of omega 6. They are not the only source of omega 6, but they are the major source of omega 6 in our diet. Now, on the other hand, one has increased, the omega 3 has actually decreased in our diet. The animals that we eat no longer eat the original food that they are meant to eat. They are being fed in a commercial setup to quickly get the animals to grow, become fat, to get slaughtered for sale. So the omega 3 in the meat has come down drastically. How about fish? Fish has omega 3, but the seas are so polluted now. If you go into a diet eating um, fish on a regular basis, you may contaminate your body with toxic chemicals which come down from the uh, plants and factories which throw out all their waste matter into rivers, which finally comes into the sea, and also toxic heavy metals. What are they? Like lead, cadmium, arsenic, and also mercury. Now, this have increased in the fish um, muscles. And so, if you eat fish too much, now you can get to a point where you accumulate many of these toxic heavy metals. They can interfere with the functioning of the cells. Okay. Now, even safe stuff, like for example, unpolished rice, now they find because of the extra water used or some problem, there is a slight increase in the arsenic content. So, rice eaters, those who cannot do without rice every day, their levels, I notice when we do blood tests, arsenic is a little bit higher. Now, um, so we are exposed to this, and therefore, we don't take that much fish. One, of course, the other thing is there aren't many people who would like to eat fish. Forget about every day, even every other day, they get a little fed up. You see, so the omega 3 situation in our diet is quite bad. Okay. Now, this imbalance can lead to inflammation in the body. When we say inflammation in the body, most of it is taking place in the blood vessels, the inside lining, and that can lead to a lot of diseases. Inflammation has been described even long ago, particularly TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. But of course, the term they use is heatiness. We thought it was temperature, but now we understand that heatiness actually means inflammation. Now, due to these reasons, if you want to get an increase in omega 3, supplements is the only way. Okay. And not that you shouldn't focus on your diet. Try and get a balanced, healthy diet as much as you can afford and be in a position to prepare. That is basic. However, it's also good to add a supplement to satisfy the body's needs. Now, I mentioned about supplementation in olden times from ethnic groups and so on. So one doesn't have to feel guilty thinking that, oh, we are the only ones in modern times taking supplement and so on. No, even in olden times, though they did not take it on a daily basis because of inconvenience, they can't be preparing soup and broth and all that in addition to normal food. Okay. So today, of course, commercially, it's very viable and easy to get a supplement, any supplement that you need. Okay. Now, how? do we decide on this? Now, these are some of the questions that come up in our minds. So many around. How do I choose? Do I rely on the cost? Do I rely on the ingredient content here? Okay. For that, we need to know how much the body needs. Okay. Even after all that, is it really working? Does the body actually use it? All this question needs to be answered. Now, when you look for a fish oil or omega-3, the first thing that you will notice is one soft gel may have 1000 milligrams, 1200 milligrams. That is not the important thing. What you need to look at is below that, and they will list the ingredients that the body uses. Two types of ingredients. Long name, but short form is EPA, DHA. And combined, it is estimated that we need about 700 milligrams to have a healthy cell membrane. Okay. If the cell membrane works well, most of the cells will work. The cells may be part of your joint, it may be part of your heart, the cell membrane may be part of the cells in your brain. Many areas, in fact, all areas will get affected. Now, some people feel that you need more than this, especially those living in cold countries. They go up to 1,000. But if you look at the tropical countries like where we are, this should be enough total amount of EPA, DHA. If it is a little bit more, fine. Okay, that's the minimum. Now, it has also been found that if you take just fish oil alone, it may not work as well unless you have an antioxidant available in that oil. Now, these antioxidants do two jobs. One is to keep the oil from going rancid or going bad or getting oxidized. The second function is it's supposed to help you absorb the oil into the system and make the body use it. Now, this doesn't happen with all antioxidants. All antioxidants will protect the oil, helping in the absorption process only certain antioxidants. Okay. And we'll touch on that. Now, it may not be a pleasant taste, but it mustn't feel too yucky. Some people, quite a lot of people don't like to take oil alone, you see. So the taste needs to be um, blunted, you can say. Okay. Now, the final thing which will make you decide is when you take a product, is it working for you? Is there any way to test it? Now, thanks to the progress in laboratory medicine, nowadays we are able to do the test and tell you exactly how well you fare when you take these products. Okay. So here, I just have a picture of Zinzino fish oil. We say mixed oil before that, you will notice that the bottle is dark in color. Now, this prevents light getting through. If the oil is exposed to light, it can become rancid. Not right away, over a period of time. And you will notice the bottle is not very big, about 300 ml. Now, we do not want to have large bottles which last months and months. Now, that is one way where the oil becomes rancid. So we have two sizes, 100 and 300 ml. Now, how much? When I said um, the ingredients, uh, the EPA, DHA, you can see it here. By the way, we suggest two types of servings. This is a guideline. Now, don't take it strictly, guideline. One is, I think, forget this number. This is about half a tablespoon. This is about 3/4 of a tablespoon. Why I say tablespoon? In our part of the world, somehow the more consistent size is the tablespoon. Teaspoons vary quite a bit. Some are cupped, some are flat. So when you pour oil, you may not catch all of it. So half a tablespoon, 3/4 of a tablespoon. So each serving, you can see here, EPA, DHA, about 1,200 for the small serving. When it comes to the bigger serving, you are looking at 1,900. Now that's quite a lot. That's more than enough. So it'll satisfy all your needs. Now, we have also another oily preparation. And after COVID coming in, there is a lot of focus on vitamin D3. So our product, Zinzino Balance Oil, includes vitamin D3, uh, 500 international units for the smaller serving, and for the bigger one, 800 international units. What makes it different is this polyphenol antioxidant complex. Okay, this is the one that keeps the oil fresh, helps you to absorb, and helps the body to use it. Okay, polyphenols. And which group of polyphenols? A number of fruits do produce polyphenols, but the ones that are most concentrated seems to work best is the one found in virgin olive oil. Okay, so all companies can do that, get virgin olive oil and add the polyphenols. This is where we have a proprietary blend. Yes, we tell you how much we have added, but how it's added, under what conditions is, of course, the company's secret. Okay, and this seems to work well, at least in this part of the world. After testing members for the last 3 years, I noticed that ours is the most superior oil, omega-3 oil in the market right now. Now, these polyphenols are taken from olive oil, and olive oil has a lot of omega-3. So when you bring it along, you bring along omega-9, which is from the olive oil. It so happens omega-9 is a healthy fat. So you get a good serving of omega-9 as well. So when we look at Zinzino balance oil, that's why we don't call it fish oil. We call it balance because it has the fish part, vitamin D, and omega-9. Okay, so that's all nice, but is it convincing? Yes. So you don't have to check the company, the account, whatever, because when you take the product, you can check it and all the other questions will be answered. There is a test kit that you should be able to get hold of. What you need is just 2 drops of blood onto a blotting paper. Let the blood dry for 10 minutes. Send it for testing. 2 to 3 weeks, you will come back with results. What results? There will be a results of 11 fatty acids in your red blood cell membrane, not from the liquid part of the blood. Why? Because the red blood cell membrane tells you how much of the oil the body has used, not just circulating in your blood, actually used it. So, what are the oils? We also provide details of saturated fat so that you know how much you are having in your system. Because too much of saturated fat, your cells become very stiff. Right amount, it improves the health. Okay, this is the omega-9 good fat and omega-6, omega-3. Each one you notice is a family of 4 oils. Omega-3 also 4. So 4 plus 4, 8. Saturated fat 2, omega-9 1. You get results for 11 tests, 11 oils. The sample, I mean, the chart I have here is the older one, okay, but it's the same pattern. The first line shows where you should be. The second line shows where you are. Third line shows the difference. Where you should be, where you are, the difference. And here, the difference in percentage. Now, in the current testing results, we've taken out this column because this column is more important and we don't want to have too many columns. Okay. Where you should be, where you are, and the difference. Okay. So some people say, my God, this one, I can't be looking at the number here, compare and see what percentage, is it important, and so on. So there are people who are interested in this. So we provide this result and we also put it in a picture form so that anyone who wants to see immediately get the right impression can do that. Okay. So we come up with bar diagrams. Now here you will notice like omega-3 balance. Now three colors. If you are in the green zone, you're okay. Yellow, not enough. If you're in the red, you are in trouble. Okay. There's a lot of deficiency. Now you may be in the red, but if you are here and not here, you're worse. So we provide this arrow to show where you stand. So all these values comes out and you know exactly where you stand. Okay. Now we also provide an estimate. Okay. Here is your balance 6-3. Now this person is 37.3 to 1 bad. But other estimations like your protection value, this protection, your immune system, how well is it functioning? Let me remind you, to have a good immune system, you need enough protein, enough sleep, stress control, yes, all of that. But your contribution from omega 3 to your protection value is zero. It doesn't mean your immune system is about just zero. No, all the others seem to be in place, but the contribution by omega-3 is down to zero. Okay, that's what it means. So do not panic when you see protection value zero. No, huh? And let me maybe give you, I need to highlight one thing before I finish with this. You will come across arachidonic acid, which is part of omega-6. Now, this is the only bar which has got red both sides. So what does it mean? It means that if you do not have enough, you are in trouble. If you have too much, also in trouble. Why is that? Arachidonic acid is like that. Now, this is the one that causes inflammation. We need inflammation for our protection. Too much inflammation will damage our cells. So too little, no protection, or rather reduced protection. Too much of it, damage to our cells. So you don't want to be here or here. You want to be here. So this guy is not too bad. He needs to move in here a little bit. And he will if he takes Zinzino balance oil. Okay. Now, we also have just a basic diagram to show you right away whether you are red or yellow or green. Now, all this bar diagram that we saw, if you want to summarize, you can summarize it here. Okay. So to round it up, I would say get tested. Even if you have been taking another brand, quality brand, test yourself because you want to know whether you're benefiting from that. If you are not taking any supplement, you exactly want to know what your diet has done to you. So get tested. And after that, take the balance oil. Why do we focus on 120 days? We are testing the membrane of red blood cells. And the red blood cells completely changed completely are replaced every 120 days. That's about 4 months. Now, in this part of the world, very few people wait till 4 months. They'll get checked in 2 months. Now, that's fine. Now, as long as you see the ratio improving, you know that you're benefiting from it. Okay. And you will very soon hit 3:1. So whoever invited you or you need to tell somebody about this, maybe you want to tell them about the oil and the test kit also. Okay. Now, I'm going to stop here and maybe take some questions that you might have regarding what I spoke so far. You can type your questions in the chat. Um, Even in Mandarin, Vincent will be able to tell me exactly what is being asked. Now, someone might say, can you take more than the recommended amount? Yes. What will happen? The body will use what it needs, and the rest of it will be stored as fat or used for energy. Now, you can get energy from other less expensive foods. So there's no need to take excessive amount of the balance oil, thinking that little is good, more is even better. No, not necessary. I guess another question would be, this is what I normally get. How, what should be your minimum age to take balance oil? Children who are already on a normal diet, grains, vegetable, and so on, you can give them. Now we have one question here. Is it normal to have oily stool when we start taking balance oil? Not everyone. Some people may have it because the liver is unable to digest the oil and absorb it. So that might take kickstart and take a while. So what I would suggest is reduce the amount of balance oil you're taking till you feel better and slowly, gradually improve it according to how your bowels are. Now, some people actually take it and may have diarrhea. Now, these are people who probably suffered from constipation without realizing. So when you take the oil, oil is still oil in spite of the EPA, DHA. So that will clear some old stuff. So it won't continue like that. Probably 2, 3 days it will stop. Individuals with mild G6PD, red blood cells outer layer will dissolve, the urine may turn Coca-Cola color, dark color, okay? In severe cases, you need to avoid eating bitter melon, touching camphor, exposed to peppermint. Okay, since G6PD is a genetic condition, how should uh, child consume elixir and balance oil? The child is only 6 years old. Now, G6PD uh, is an enzyme in the liver which should be there to convert some certain things to other things. Now, some people may be born with a condition that that enzyme cannot be produced or it's produced in small amounts. So you tend to have problems when you consume certain things that can affect, cannot be converted by G6PD because not enough. Okay. Now, nowadays, all the children are given a list. The parent will get a list. The list will include all the medications. Okay. When it comes to food, need not be that strict. Okay. Now, that is another big topic, but coming to the point, Velixir, balance oil is not a problem with a child who has G6PD. They can take it. There is nothing there that will upset their liver or anything like that. How much do you take? It will depend on your age. 6 years. Okay. The 6-year-old child may be taking, say, 1/4 of the volume of food of the parents or father or mother, or maybe one third, or maybe half. Some children eat well. Now, your supplement, whether Velexit or balance oil, must be according to that, whether one quarter, one third, or half, according to the diet. And because both are liquid, it is easier to measure out. Okay, do we continue with other supplements or stop if we are taking the oil? No, continue with whatever other supplements you're taking. By the way, many supplements get absorbed better in if there is some fat in your diet. Okay, so taking a uh, important ingredient like omega-3 will only help you further. Why do someone take the oil and suffer heartburn after half an hour? Yes, Teresa, this is a good question. Now, this again comes connected to the first question. There are some people who cannot uh, digest oil if you take it just oil like that. For someone like that, I would say reduce the amount that you serve and take it after food. So when it mixes with food, it is easier to process for them. Okay. Some of them, well, after taking oil, they feel it's good to take a little bit of a sweet drink after that to suppress the taste of oil in the mouth. So the heartburn is actually due to being unable to digest the oil if it is just raw oil in the stomach and nothing else. Okay. Now, does taking balance oil provide us enough nutrition? Uh, Oops, hold on. Okay. Does taking balance oil provide us enough nutrition? No. Balance oil is only one of the many things you need. I started with this saying your diet must be as wholesome as you can afford to. That is where you get all your nutrition. What may be a little short or not available there is where you bring in supplement. So a supplement will complement your food. Okay. So balance oil will give you omega-3 because you don't have much in the diet. That's it. Okay. Now, should we also take Velixir and Xenobiotic together? You can, because those two provide other benefits. Okay. Can we continue to take oil after we have done with colon scoping? Oh, scope. Okay. Can we continue to take oil after we have done colon scope? Yes. The oil is mainly for your cell membrane. It will get digested in the early part of small intestine oil. By the time it comes down, it will get absorbed. So it won't come into the large intestine as oil. Okay. It is only in the initial stages where the processing is slow. There may be some constipation. So you get the effects of the oil in the large intestine. In a scope, they usually examine only the large intestine, not the small. Okay. So yes, after a scope, if you want to, you can take it. After taking balance oil for 120 days, I am now balanced. My GLA is now 80%. DGLA is minus 24%. Yes. Now, when there's a lot of figures given, what happens is, Margaret, this four oils in omega-3, four in omega-6, they are the transition part. Now, the whole transition will finally land up with EPA, DHA. Everything else is on the way. So there will be times it is being used up and therefore it might look like a little low. Sometimes there may be a little excess. It is in the process. The main thing is to look for EPA, DHA. If you get that right, fine. Okay? Not to worry.
Can we take it
Sorry.
after
Now,
dinner? Balance
dinner.
oil, you mean?
Yes, you can. You can. Now, those of you who take early dinners, this would be a good practice. Late dinners, the digestion may take even longer. So it might disturb you when you go to bed. So see how you fare. There are some people who take late dinner, take oil, whatever, that they can digest and process it. Okay, just to give you a warning, late dinner with oily food can, because oily food takes a little longer to digest. So when you go to bed, if it your stomach is supposed to rest, if it is still working full speed, you are going to feel a bit funny. Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Doctor, for sharing. Any more last question for Dr. Abraham?
Uh, my sister took oil and
Sweet.
had to go
Oh.
into. That's right. Yeah. Now that means she had a quiet, without realizing, had constipation. Many of us go to toilet every day. You can still have constipation because your elimination is incomplete. So those who have older material stored, when you take oil, you may get this effect. Okay, but of course, it won't last very long. Maybe a couple of days, then you should be okay.
Yeah. Some people actually have this one skin irritation. I noticed that
Hmm.
skin irritation, and it's like they blow up a little bit for a while, for 2 weeks maybe. Then after that, it become better. Mm.
True, true.
Mm. All right. Okay. Thank you,
Yep.
doctor. Okay, for your
Yes.
sharing. Okay,
Welcome.
tonight. All right, and of course, I after listening to doctor talk, I think you should agree that we can do more sharing with our prospects and friends regarding balance oil, so we can help them to improve their diet as well. Okay, so before we I'm going to share this few slides. Okay, okay, so this is of course where we want to be, lah. But unfortunately, worldwide, most of the people are here unbalanced. Okay, most of us are unbalanced, and 97% of people worldwide are here. Okay, how do we know? We actually did a test, the balance test, right? So it's like worldwide 97% of people are unbalanced. And actually, in fact, this part of the world is like 98, 99% of people are unbalanced. So what do we mean by unbalanced? For those of you who have done the test, you probably seen this test. Dr. Abraham mentioned earlier. Okay, for those who haven't seen, this is actually the reports that you'll be getting, including the 11 types of fatty acids in the body. Okay, so what happened when we are unbalanced? Okay, what do we mean by unbalanced? It means that the omega-6, like this is actually an example. This is actually my example. Okay, before I start taking the oil and elixir, I do a test. It comes out 13 is to 1. 13 portion of omega-6 is to 1 portion of omega-3. This means that my body has a lot of inflammation because omega-6 is pro-inflammatory and omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. Okay, so we are having too much of this from all our man-made food and all our plant-based oil. Okay, but too little of omega-3. Okay, because we are not taking enough natural fish. Okay, a lot of fish nowadays are farm fish or are frozen fish, right? So not enough. So what happens when we are unbalanced? We have a lot of inflammation, and long-term inflammation might lead to all these problems, which obviously we want none of this to happen to us and our loved ones. Okay, and this is actually a statistic for Singapore lah. So it's actually happening now. Okay, quite a lot of people actually are suffering from all these problems, and I'm pretty sure it's about the same in Malaysia or the rest of the Asia countries. So we will also have unhealthy cells when we are unbalanced. Okay, but once we are balanced, once we are 3 to 1 and below, we will now have a healthy cell, and therefore thus reducing the risk of a lot of chronic health problems. Okay, so what I did is I take the oil, we take the oil, balance oil. Okay, and at the same time also have this village here. All right, and of course 4 months later you can see that it can improve to become 3.4 is to 1. 3.4 is to 1. Okay, 3.4 portion of omega-6 is to 1 portion of omega-3. Just now it's full of red, right? A sea of red. But now you can see that it has improved. And the beautiful part is that during these 4 months, what I did was I just took the oil and elixir normally during my breakfast. But my diet actually remains the same, no change. All right. And I still can see a lot of improvement. Okay. Those of I know I do understand there are some customers who watch their diet and really in 4 months time they become balanced. So but for myself, for my case, it doesn't. But then I can feel and see a lot of difference. Other than I'm like semi-balanced, I can feel that I'm more focused. I can sleep much better. The quality of the sleep has improved. Okay, the skin condition and the nails has improved. Okay, becomes more healthy. And in another 4 months time, which is the 9 month period, it went down to 2.5 is to 1. So okay, so this from here, I'm very confident that the products is working for me, and therefore, and of course, we know that this is good for us, right? We will definitely share with more people. So for the balance oil, there's so much health benefit, so everybody in the family should start taking the products. Okay, and you can actually be our you can be our partners for how to actually get this product. Okay, you can choose to become a partner to market the products. Okay, and or you can be our subscribing customers. Or you can be our subscribing customers. Okay, so this is actually a customer kit. Okay, for those of you who have not start taking their products, okay, you can choose to become a partner or customers or premium customers. But before you start to do that, okay, talk to the person who invite you to the call first, okay, because we have quite a few of you here. So if let's say you have not started taking, okay, go after this session, talk to the person who invite you to the call, okay, to see which one is better for you. Is it the partner kit or is it the customer kit? Okay, so this is actually the premium customer kit. Okay, and this and you and it's smarter for you to be on subscription. Okay, so that you can get this at a premium price. All right, and the Singapore and Malaysian ringgit price, they are all listed here. And in next month, in the month of February, from 3rd of February onwards, the price, there'll be some price adjustment. Okay, so it's best to actually be our partner and customer this month. Okay, so that you can have the more value. You can start taking them. Okay, and then you can experience the difference yourself. All right. Okay, so being a premium customers, you can also get free products. Okay, the subscription that you are paying can be free when you actually share it for subscribing customers. Okay, so why do you have to pay when you can get it for free, right? Okay, so if you love the product, share it and get free product. Okay, all you need to do is to pay for shipping. All right, okay, that's all for tonight. Okay, thank you very much for your participation. Okay, and today's session is actually the last session for January. Okay, and also the last session before Chinese New Year. Okay, so the next upcoming doctor session will be in February, 4th of February, and he will be discussing with everyone about Elixir. Okay, talking about with everyone this the Elixir product. Okay, so hereby I wish everyone, okay, those who are celebrating Chinese New Year, Happy New Year to you. Okay, and good health and good wealth. Okay, 新年快乐，万事如意，心想事成啊，生意兴隆。Okay, thank you very much and have a nice day. Okay, bye for now. Thank you.